Netflix co-founder says, "Thank goodness I am not the CEO of a major media company today."
Amen.
Yeah, you could end up being Warner Brothers, having to figure out how to cover for your actor who's in trouble for grooming children.
Yeah,
wouldn't want to be in that position.
So it says leaders at mega companies like Netflix and Disney can no longer straddle the fence on cultural and political issues. That is an objectively true statement. There's like I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if they just didn't do this anymore? But the world is so connected now, and everybody's got something to complain about. They really can't just not say anything. Right. I guess you could take the approach of just never responding, but I don't think they can really do that either every time somebody complains. I don't buy that they could actually get away with it. Your lack of response will be in turn interpreted as a response anyways.
I know that our company doesn't have a policy about this, but I also know that one of Tim's practices is to simply not respond to stuff like this.
Especially drama, especially.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great rule of thumb.
Don't dignify.
Don't engage.
So it says, quote, it says, "All I'm going to say is thank goodness I'm not the CEO of a major media company today," Mark Randolph, says Mark Randolph. He served as Netflix's first CEO from its inception in 1997 to 2003. So he told this to Yahoo Finance in a new interview. "We have a country that is becoming more and more polarized. There are people on either side. In the past, it was very straightforward to either ignore these issues or find some way to straddle them, but that has become increasingly difficult," the former executive admitted, comparing modern-day leadership to a tightrope act. Randolph, who documented his Netflix journey in his book, That Will Never Work, went on to reference the company's platform recent culture update. To reference the platform's recent culture update. So the memo they sent out about all the stuff that, So you guys have read that. We've talked about that on here. It says, as a prime example of how companies can and should be more transparent. The streamer, which updated its company culture guidelines for the first time since 2017, clarified in its stance as a pure play media company, writing that, quote, "Not everyone will like or agree with everything on our service. Rather, quote, we let viewers decide what's appropriate for them versus what Netflix censorship, versus Netflix having." Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Versus having Netflix censor specific artists or voices. So yeah, that's what they should have been doing from the beginning. Let the people decide for themselves.
I think that this is just keeping up the appearance of being a free and open platform when they are anything but. Really, the situation is that they want to have it both ways. They want to have cuties on the platform, something of that nature, and then they also want to have Dave Chappelle on the platform. They don't really. I mean, obviously, money is the prime motivator for them, but they are very censorious, and it's not a free and open platform. They don't care about freedom of expression, and the idea that they're trying to have something on the table for everyone, for everyone's tastes, but not everything will satisfy
the old school
every
view
customer.
For me would have just been that, look, it's a for-profit entity. Its job is not to appease everyone. Its job is to make money. At its heart, the job of this company is to profit.
Sure.
So like,
I'm just saying they're no model of transparency and openness.
They're working on making an image of that, which I believe, as we've talked about with the monetization and appropriation of the concept of cancel culture and turning it into a marketable product. That's what's happening here. Is people are turning back to the concept of free speech, not in belief system or in actual principle, but in a branding model.
Now they're going to switch it around and be like, oh, you're pro free speech, but you don't want cuties on Netflix?
Yeah.
What about freedom of expression, Dave Chappelle fans?
Lack of nuance and lack of any idea how to interpret like the world.
It's like
as it comes
context
to you.
no longer exists.
No, context really is the enemy of a lot of these people. So it says, he added that all companies should continue to be honest and clear when it comes to official stances on various issues and ultimately let the customer decide. Netflix's cultural update likely came in response to November employees' walkout after the release of Dave Chappelle's comedy special, The Closer, which critics deem transphobic, because everything that jokes about something that you like is some type of phobic.
It's really telling that of like the type of people they employ, that's what has them doing a walkout.
Unbelievably mild and not like
right. Like I just don't believe these people have principles.
They don't.
Even the ones they claim to have, which I hate. Well, they don't have.
Or just don't watch it. Just don't watch. Like there's all sorts of stuff that make jokes that I think are stupid, and I just don't watch it and just don't talk about it.
It's a handy tool.
It says competition Disney recently went through a similar employee uproar after CEO Bob Chapek was criticized for taking a soft stance on Florida's parental rights bill in Parental Rights and Education Act. Blah blah blah. I don't care about the politics. We all know that it intersects with this, but it's the concept here goes deeper than actual policy. The concept here and the content comes about the polarization of our climate as a culture here in America. So Lee Cockrell, a former executive vice president of operations for the Walt Disney Resort, told Yahoo Finance at the time that CEOs have to stand up quick on political issues, adding politics is just part of life. You can't avoid it. Disney used to manage to do this before Bob Chapek in his pipe dream of becoming president one day, which somebody pointed out when I was on IRLS that Bob Iger, I meant Bob Iger, not Bob Chapek. Bob Iger is apparently 71, and he looks fantastic for 71.
Yeah.
I thought he was in his 50s or his
that's right. We talked about this. I
thought he was in his 50s or his 60s. That's not going to be president. He's like.
I think this comment is interesting in the context of this recent story. We didn't end up covering it on here because it was rather complicated, with lots of unverified details. But the Disney World Resort has been allegedly deeply involved in local politics in Anaheim.
We didn't get into that. I was like, it would have required we would have had to do a whole episode just on that.
There was a lot that was source says, and I didn't really know what to trust about it.
And I have a hard time anytime they say a source close to Disney says.
Right.
It could be anybody.
Please.
It could be Bob that lives next door to Disney World and just happens to know a guy who walks his dog to Disney World.
Mainly it was
every day.
saying that an executive at their Disney World Resort was involved in Anaheim City Council trying to get money for the resort.
Yeah.
How strange.
From taxpayers.
Never would have believed that.
So it says Randolph agreed. He says you will have somebody mad at you no matter what, no matter which way you respond.
Factual.
That's just the way life is today. You cannot ride the fence. Those days are over and everything is political. It doesn't.
Everything is political.
That's
You
right.
say that like it's inevitable and it has to be that way.
You're a freaking family media company. Just make movies. Seriously, if all they did was just remake all their movies shot for shot, they could still survive.
Yeah.
Just remake Bambi. I'm the one who keeps joking about making live action Bambi. Just make live action Bambi again. And don't change anything. Don't update it for current years. They could survive on IP and nostalgia alone.
Which is why I find it so funny that when people are talking about Disney now, they're kind of strapped for cash these days. No, that you
You're
just
really not, though.
are told that and you believe that.
The acting chief operating officer got a $20 million bonus during COVID, which I'm the one who I actually kind of stand up for the CEOs a lot of time because it's not an easy job. What they have to do, those executive roles are oftentimes
stressful.
They're extremely stressful, and you're usually results based, meaning that Iger turned things around for Disney at a time when they were going through, but he did it by buying up. His kind of business model was to just keep buying IP and expanding, and expand them through years where they had you remember when they were making Mary might be too young to remember this, but every Disney movie had a made for TV sequel that would go straight to VHS. Simba, Lion King, Simba's Pride, or something nobody saw those. They've now learned how to monetize all that. And use it with their streaming platforms.
By the way, isn't it so convenient that Disney Plus came out in late 2019, right before everyone was at home for months?
There was also a really funny meme that went around that said it was right before a month before COVID. It showed a thing of 60 different CEOs who all resigned. Thank you. So it was 60 different Fortune 500 CEOs all resigned right before
How
COVID.
Curious.
I love it when government and big business work together so effectively.
That's not fascism or anything.
I mean, I'd love it if they told us about it, but if it means that the 1% of the 1% get to know, I guess that's the best I'm going to get to.
You're just a conspiracy theorist, Brad.
Yes. And now Netflix is going to keep moving forward. They're going to be doing ads So now you're going to be in the middle of watching your crappy Stranger Things episode, and I'm just kidding. I haven't seen the new season, guys.
I hear
I'm sorry.
bad things.
I don't know anything about it, but it says ads are coming to Netflix, and with them, so will more subscribers and bigger profits. It's just going to take a while. And this is kind of what I mean by CEOs have to they do have to think long term, and they have to think 5 steps ahead. So they're not looking at it as like the people like me who are going to be complaining now. They're thinking about all the revenue that will come in from people who have to watch it down the road, which is kind of why I draw that comparison here. I only pulled this article up as sort of a tangential connection to the previous one, but it says it's just going to take a while, according to the media analysts at Wells Fargo. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Wells Fargo gang previously forecast Netflix's SVOD only subscribers at 256 million subs globally by the end of 2025 in a June 3rd report. The analysts raised their estimate by 16 million subs to 272 million global subscribers, thanks to the coming addition of AVOD, which is ad-supported video on demand. Netflix also doesn't do any type of video rental of any sort. They don't even really release weekly stuff. They release everything in chunks. Like whenever I have to sit through these awful episodes of Kenobi, at the very least, it's like exposure therapy where I have to only be tortured one day a week rather than being forced to be tortured watching it all at once, which might actually end up doing me in. Like you hear somebody just fall down the stairs. It's me just running and just
trying to kill.
I can't do it anymore. I don't care about the fact that this is about everyone, but literally everyone but Kenobi. So it says in addition. Okay, so. According to research, Netflix's gross margins will realize the first inkling of AVOD value by 2024. So even if they implement it this year, end of this year, it'll take 2 years before they see any type of profit for it at all. And that's going to pair in with their choice to, what was it? They said that they're going to be focusing on bigger, fewer, better. So larger productions, less of them, but better. The idea is better content, better quality content. Yeah, better quality over quantity. I don't know if I buy that they've yet to prove themselves capable of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they were only talking about a bigger production by a relatively small margin.
They're rather than 2 $10 million movies, you make one $20 million movie.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just a small scale example of what they're talking about. But I just, it'll be interesting because I do I would never use ad supported anything because I hate ad supported. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hate ad supported. I pay for all the streaming services because the last thing I even get sometimes I'm watching stuff on Hulu and you get a little 2-second ding with whatever TV show you're watching. It shows the logo for ABC. I don't even want that.
That's
that's too much for me. Get that out of there. I don't need that's 2 seconds I could have used moving forward.
I don't have enough brain cells for that.
Exactly. It makes a stupid noise. Get rid of it. So there are some super chats there.
Yes. Caper2X said, sounds like a research trip to Disney is needed. Oh, yes. Purely for research.
I mean, if we could business expense it.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Count me in.
John Lee said, tell Tim the boss man to get a different pay chat service other than YouTube super chats. Also, Luke likes balls of beef.
That's correct. I learned that on the show last night.
I don't know. I would understand. What is the problem with the?
I wasn't sure of the context of that.
I would rather. Oh yeah.
I'm saying, is there a reason people don't like pay chat service?
Just because it gives YouTube a big cut.
Yeah, it does. A huge cut.
Yeah,
almost 30%. It's ridiculous. It's a high amount.
30%. Yeah. Okay, I thought it was more than that. Actually,
I mean, we could figure out something else and still keep super chats. I don't know.
Yes.
We can talk about a Discord, but I also know that those can get mobbed pretty easily.
Yeah.
So Tim had a bad experience with Discord, so.
Okay, and there's one more.
Hava Owen said, Netflix is just doing what all companies will do.
Agreed.
I think they're in the process of trying to rebrand, and the key here is to never let them pull the wool over your eyes. They're not any different. They never were before. I do believe that right now the attempt to change their culture and to change their business model is more in relation to the crunch of the economy closing in around them, right? So they had government intervention, and people were forced to stay home all through COVID, which boosted their numbers and gave them a little bit of security. Without that now, and with the economy not just cooling, but is basically Arctic ice cold,
icing over.
You know who's not hoping that gas prices go down is Netflix. So you have to stay home and watch stuff.
I mean, they were doing gangbusters in COVID era.
Yep.
And they should have been anticipating that right after that's over, recession incoming.
Of
and
course.
What's concerning me is that if this recession gets unprecedented bad, how are people going to distract themselves from the fact that like life is sucking?
I'm pretty sure that once we hit the point where you can't afford a way to distract yourself,
Right.
we're gonna face some serious problems.
That's it's kind of like the concept, like things don't go bad until food shortages and until
I mean, like I was saying, bread and circuses are not really at the level that they need to be to quell our worries.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.